Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Lone Wolf 902. Today's video is going to be another hot tent adventure. As you can see, I've got my tent and my wood stove already set up. And with me today, I have a few new pieces of gear that I want to talk about. One, I made myself a new waxed canvas bedroll. My old one was a little bit too short, and I wanted something a little bit wider. So I made a new wax canvas bedroll, 6 foot long, 30 inches wide. And when I say new, I mean new. Like, it won't even, I literally just made this yesterday, so it is still stiff as a board, and it needs to be worked to get just to get a little bit more supple, such as my stove bag here. So that's a little more pliable now that it's been used a little bit. The other piece of gear that I made is my red wool anorak. So I had this red blanket kicking around the house for quite some time, and I haven't seen anybody with a red anorak. So this is actually red with white fiber. Up close, you can see the red and white. It's actually really warm. I'm surprised. So I haven't added any draw cords in the sleeves or in the hood yet. This is the first time I've taken it out, and I don't think I'm going to put draw cords in the sleeves. I think I nailed it bang on with the sleeves. They're not in the way. They're not flopping around. The hood, the same thing. I am wearing a sweater underneath. And the hood, I made it large enough, but I don't think I'm going to add any draw cords in this at all. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And maybe I'll make a different one with a different style and then add the cords and whatnot. But that is pretty much it, I think. And then, of course, I've got my wax canvas saw bag and a couple other pieces here and there. So bring you guys up to speed with what's going on right now. Like I said, the tent and the stove is already set. I've got to get my bedroll in there, get that situated, and then inside my pack, I still got my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag. So I'm going to get all that stuff set up, and then I'm probably going to make a tiny, tiny little twig fire outside, just enough to basically make coffee, and then it's going to be a day of going in the woods. It's wet. It rained last night really hard, so I've got to go in the woods all over and look for some dry hardwood to get inside of the wood stove for tonight. So it's probably going to take about an hour or two of my time collecting firewood, getting it set for the night, and then we'll enjoy a very, very nice peaceful night, because I'm looking right out at a lake right now and the clouds are spotty, so it looks like tonight's sunset is going to be amazing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But I'm going to get all my stuff put together inside the tent, and then I'll bring you guys right back. Alright guys, I got my hot cup of coffee made up after quite a while. I had to get some wood for the wood stove because my original plan was I was just going to make a little fire outside and a little twig fire, put the kettle over that, do it that way. But I figured, you know what, it's getting late in the day. I might as well just get the stove going right now to help dry out some wood inside of it and to dry out the ground underneath of it because there are leaves all over the place. And I did brush a lot of them out of the way, but I would like the ground to be dry, and if anything is going to start smoking, I can see it right now in the daylight versus later on tonight inside of the tent when it's dark. So, I'm going to be enjoying my coffee for a few minutes, and then it is getting quite late in the day. The sun is kind of moving down behind the tree, so it is going to be firewood collection time very shortly, and I'm going to have to do that very quickly. Now, I don't need a lot of wood because I do have my overalls, plus my big wool sweater, plus my sleeping bag. So I'm not going to be cold at all tonight without the wood stove, but having the wood stove is nice to just slip out of some clothing, get these dried out, get my pants underneath dried out, and enjoy a little bit of comfort inside of the tent without being all bundled up in big, heavy clothing. So that's going to be the plan. Sip on some coffee, gather some firewood, and then it's going to be start on supper time, and hopefully we will be able to catch that sunset over that lake because it is still looking good with some spotty clouds up there. So coffee, firewood, and then probably supper and sunset. All right, guys, I got all my firewood cut up for the evening. I'm not going to be burning a whole lot, but I do have a fair bit of hardwood chunks in here. I've got some slabs also that I found off of a fallen tree, so I cut those off of it. And anything that's still damp and wet, I've got all around the stove, so the heat right now will dry that out. And I'll basically be burning this nice hardwood for now. And then I have a couple of limbs outside of the tent right here that are softwood. I haven't cut that up yet. I'm going to do that a little later on. But it is supper time. So for supper, I've got curry. I've got a 3-part curry, it's actually 2-part curry with some dry herbs. So I'm going to be popping that into my 750 ml pot, and then I have a plain bagel to go with that. So very, very simple kind of trail style dinner, and it all fits inside of the pot, which is a bonus. So I just got to add a little bit of water in here, add these 2 liquid pouches, pop it on the stove, cook it up, sit back and eat. So that's my plan right now. I want to get this done before it gets too dark because I don't want to miss the sunset. So I'm just going to cut this open, add this in here, and these are excellent. These are excellent curry soups. My girlfriend got these for me. I had a coconut one last time. I don't remember the name of this one, but it's supposed to be quite spicy, so perfect for me because I love spicy food. And already it smells amazing. 1 pack. Get the next one in here. I can hear that wood stove burning real hot now. See the smoke starting to not smoke as much, so that means it's starting to burn really clean. All right, so I'm going to let that come up to temperature. Very, very simple meal. I broke out in a massive sweat while I was cutting firewood, so that's the reason why I haven't finished cutting the rest of the wood. So hot that I had to take my overalls off, so I am cold now, which is actually really good. Walking around here, I can feel the cold chill, and that's because my pants are wet and my sweater's slightly wet from sweating. So I got my overalls over here inside of the tent. I'm probably going to lay them open a little later on. And then I'm going to be placing them underneath of my sleeping bag on top of my sleeping pad. So when I go to bed tonight, those will be nice and warm when I wake up. And it is going to get very, very cold tonight. So hopefully these dry out. I will be sleeping in these pants. That's the reason why I'm kind of worried, because they are wet, so, or damp for now anyways. But I can hang them up top of the tent. There is a hook up there. So later on tonight when I'm inside of the tent, I could take these off, hang them up, and dry them. So no worries with that. That's kind of the bonus of bringing a hot tent. Not just to stay warm, but it's also to dry out clothing, to cook and do other tasks. This smells amazing. Oh man. I have not eaten anything yet today, so this is going to be really good. Really good. And like I said, later on, I've got my big pack of ramen here that I'm going to be snacking on. And I have a couple other things in my backpack as well, like almonds, peanuts, and stuff like that. So I'm good for food. I just really need to get this in me and then eat my bagel, chill out for a little bit, get my sweater back on because I imagine I'll be cold by the time I'm done. And then go park my butt over by the lake and watch what happens in the sky for colors. Okay, so supper's all done, and I am now in front of the lake, pretty much right on the water's edge, but the issue is there are no clouds in the sky. So tonight's sunset is probably just going to be a band across the sky of pinks and purples, and that's it, unfortunately. I had my hopes set on a nice, colorful sunset with those clouds, but there are no more clouds, so have to deal with what we got, I guess. I had my curry. That was really good. That definitely hit the spot. I'm full now. And I've got a smoked porter. So wintertime is basically here. It's time to get in the stouts and porters, right? And man, it is beautiful out here. Absolutely silent. So can't go wrong with that. I did cut up a little bit more firewood before I came down here, so I have a couple more pieces of softwood inside of the tent, and I got a feeling it's going to get cold tonight. There is a cool breeze coming in, and I put my anorak back on and my overalls, and I'm still cold. I haven't had a chance to warm up yet, so I got a feeling it's going to be very cold out tonight, which is no problem because my sleeping bag will keep me plenty warm, plus the wood stove as an added bonus. But I think I'm going to chill out here for a little bit, and I'm just looking out at the lake, and the water's now starting to calm down. And I'm just going to take this in for a little bit and enjoy my porter, and basically this is it for the night. I mean, I'll head back up to the tent and probably mess around there for a little bit, cut up a little bit more firewood. But I'm basically going to be relaxing for the rest of the evening. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful morning out here today. It started off sunny, but now looking up at the sky, the trees are starting to blow back and forth through the wind, and the clouds have set in. So I got up, I had 1 cup of coffee down on the lake, had that sunrise and just stand there in the nice calm still water. The mist was still coming up off the water out in the distance, and beautiful sunrise, but it did not last long. So I've come back up to the tent. I've got some more wood in the stove. I poured myself another cup of coffee, and I should mention that there is no breakfast today. That's right. So I do have a chocolate bar that I'm going to be snacking on the hike out of here, but I intentionally did not save food for breakfast because I'm not going to be sticking around for long today. This was more of an exploration trip. I hiked in here very, very far. I've never been here before. And I've got to say, this location is very, very nice. So I probably will be coming back here for sure. I'd like to hit this spot in the fall because there are a lot of hardwood trees, and I bet this area just lights up with all this leaf litter. It probably just lights up yellows, oranges, and reds. Probably beautiful. And then looking out across the lake, again, there's a lot of hardwood trees out there, so the edges of the lake probably light up really nicely. But the plan for today, right now, is I think it's going to rain. It did rain a little bit last night on the tent, and it looks like it might rain again today with those clouds. So I'm going to finish up my second cup of coffee. I'm going to let the stove burn out, and then it's going to be pack up time and basically get on the trail. So I'm going to enjoy this for a few minutes, and I'm basically I don't have a sunrise anymore. All I got is a gray sky. So I'm just going to sit here and look out at the lake and enjoy it, sip on my coffee, and then continue on with the morning. Alright guys, today I'm doing a bit of a reverse pack up, and what I mean by reverse pack up is I'm taking the tent down before getting everything out. I do this often on days where I just don't feel like crawling in and out of the tent to grab certain items, and I figure it's probably a good opportunity to show you guys the inside layout of the tent. So I'll just get this out of the way a little bit. So here you can see the layout. Very, very simple. Everything inside is dry, and I do have a couple pieces of wood that are left over, nice and dry. I use my wax canvas stove bag as a spot to put them because the ground was very wet when I arrived yesterday. So having that to put the wood on top of it worked out really great. And then I've got my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad, and then my wax canvas bedroll underneath of that. And then off to the side, I got my saw, which I might as well drop in the bag right now, and my backpack, and that's basically it. So, not a terrible setup. Now, usually what I would do is the stove would be here, and I would be sleeping over there, going this way. But today, just the way the ground was tilted, it was perfect for sleeping in the back with my head end going slightly uphill, which was perfect. So I had the center pole here, and I stocked up some wood here just so I'd be able to feel it with my knee or my foot. If I did move in the sleep, I'd hit that before bumping into the stove. And that worked really well. And the center pole is a great reminder of where you are in the tent as well. So I position this accordingly where I'm sleeping, and I'll bump into that and I'll feel it before I get even inches away from the stove. So that worked really well. The sleeping bag I'm using is a down bag. This is my old North Face Blue Kazoo. I've had that for years, and it is a champ. It's still going very, very strong. And it is amazingly soft on the inside. It's got like this silk kind of material, and it's beautiful to roll around in. Like once you get in there, you do like a crocodile roll, and the bag will stay still. It won't follow. You can just spin and spin, so that's great if you need to reposition. The bag won't follow you around and get knotted and twisted up. And the sleeping pad and the wax canvas, I'm really, really happy with this. This is that's an excellent piece of kit. I'm really happy I made a new one that's a little bit larger. So I'm going to continue packing up and get everything balled up. The tent is wet, so I'm going to actually put that in its stuff sack because I don't want everything else getting wet. And I'm going to cram everything into the backpack, and then I'll bring you guys back. Okay guys, I've got the backpack loaded full of my gear. Everything's in here. I'm going to be putting my sweater on in just a minute because I got to get the camera situated and all that stuff. But it is getting quite chilly out, so that is going to be nice to wear out of here. I had a really great time. So if you guys have any questions about this video or any others, drop it down in the comments section. I do have other videos where I cover how I pack my gear, and I'll touch on that briefly. So up here in the hood section, all I have is the titanium pipe and the manifold to the stove and my leather gloves. I keep that up in the hood. In the hydration bladder of the pack, so that's the part that rides right on my back, I have my wood stove and my wax canvas. I got that jammed in there, and that wax canvas is so tough right now that it actually works as an internal frame. So that's kind of cool. So I got the stove and the wax canvas in there. In the bottom of the pack, I've got my tent and my sleeping bag. And then everything else kind of stacks on top of that. My pot, my smaller items, my knife is still on my hip, and so on and so forth. And then I got my saw on the outside. So very simple. This is a 50-liter pack. Everything fits in here really nicely. I know it's hard to believe, but once you get things situated, that stove packs very small. My sleeping bag packs very small. The wax canvas is basically the length. It's basically the same length as the saw, really, once it's folded down. So that fits down inside of the pack. It's a little bit shorter than that because it is inside. So everything's in there, and it's actually not too bad. I want to say it's probably in the 25-pound range to 20-pound range. Somewhere's in there. I'm not totally sure right now, but it is incredibly light for a full hot tent system with a big saw and all that stuff. So I'm out of breath. I got to get going. So I'm going to be getting my sweater on, and I do thank you guys for watching the video. And we'll be back out here next week on another adventure as always. So thank you guys. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down in the comment section. Peace out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.